How much will Ghosts from the Past 2 actually warp the metagame? Oh boy. I'm making 30% of you guys have not smashed the living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can get to 105,000. The first deck I want to talk about here coming out of this set will actually be the Agent Structure deck. Now, we have watched the Agent Structure deck do a lot of work actually in some of the Zodiac tournaments, but it never really kind of hits that high note mark for where I really want to see it competing and doing well. I do think in terms of Rogue that it'll probably come in at tier 2, because I honestly believe that the Agent Structure deck, a lot of players aren't going to have preparedness for it. And I do think that that's definitely one major thing that a lot of decks will always have for them, is if players are not aware on how to counteract the strategies, they will always lose to them because something left field will happen that will make them be unprepared. All right, that is the same story, and we've seen it time and time again with decks like this. So also the fact that the deck will be fresh and will kind of give players a chance to kind of do something, then yes, it will be able to compete. But my other problem here is it's still Agents. The deck struggled right out of the gate in the OCG, which makes you ask yourself, well, how much will it do here in the TCG? And I do say tier 2 is very, very generous. It might be a tier 2.5 thing, but very early release, yeah, I don't see why the deck can't do things just straight on the principle of I don't know what to do. Like, yeah. That's going to be the story of Agents for probably a little while, is just you can probably doorbuster with it, but really, what else can you expect? Like, it doesn't warp that much. All right, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, the deck isn't that crazy good. It's definitely interesting. Now, I want to talk about adding Nister here. Now, adding Nister gets Heat Soul after 550 years. It's been so long since we have needed Heat Soul, and it's almost laughable at this point how far out of date Heat Soul is at this point in time. Now, will this make adding Nister a better deck? Oh, absolutely, 100%. Like, that card's existence does wonders for Cyverse and actually for adding Nister alike. But you know what the problem is at this very point in time here with wanting to even give a thought to playing adding Nister right now? If we're in a format like the one we are right now, where there are 1.5 trillion hand traps running around, you got to ask yourself, can adding Nister play up to the game? And the answer is, hell no, they can't. The fact that we are in a very hand trap heavy format right now is going to be one of the hindering points to this deck taking off. And once again, I want to be optimistic here and say, yeah, you know what? Adding Nister does a pretty good job at stealing games when it wants to. And I would say it's definitely going to be tier 2. Don't get me wrong. Ghosts from the Past definitely sets up a lot in like the tier 2 categories. Like, it gives very good reprints and a lot of things to give more like concise movements and things to the format. But once again, you know, it's still adding Nister. You're still in a very hand trap heavy format. Like, you need the hand traps in the format to calm down before you even think about playing something like adding Nister. Yes, more draw power is very, very nice, but you're just going to be hurting very, very hard because the rest of the centralized competitive format is super, super, super up there. Now, here's the other thing. Boral and Dragon comes out here. Now, Dragon Link, congratulations. I'll clap for you. All right, you got your boss monster. Finally. But here's the problem, all right? Everything else in the format is now effectively faster than Dragon Link. I think for the first time in years now, we've actually seen Dragon Link getting power crapped. And it's actually going to get a whole lot worse here, because once we get the next dragon for Albaz, it's literally just a contact fusion with Fallen of Albaz, and as many dragons as possible from the opponent's field. So not only do you get hindered by Albaz existing in the format right now, It's going to get a whole lot worse when you literally touch down here and you get Nobius Alretin or whatever its name is. So, yeah, Borland does bring a lot to Dragon Link, and I do think the Dragon Link can once again keep up in that rogue sense. But seeing the fact that this deck has just maintained its dominance for tier 1 for so long, and then now that the metagame has begun to kind of creak and evolve, then you're like, oh crap, like now it's too late at this point in time. I want to be more optimistic and be like, yeah, finally, but the supremacy that is Dragon Link as of this point in time is just creeping off the market. Once again, though, more tier 2 support. All right. You know, things in tier 2 can bump up to 1.5. They can happen. All right. So don't be discouraged by that. But once again, when you're looking further down the pipeline, there's just too many anti-Dragon Link cards that are coming. And you're just like, oh, yeah, like, what am I supposed to do at this point in time? And really, there is no, like, good answer. It's big ol' stinky for big ol' Dragon Link players out here. So maybe somehow, somewhere along the way we can do something, but nothing's going to really change here. All right, now, in regards to some of the other roguish things in the deck here, or in the set here. So those are, like, the three big impactful things. Obviously, Code Talkers here also get the access point to, you know, getting free cards and free chicken tendies off of the draw engine from Heatzel, but the deck's not consistent enough. All right, you have too many damn hand traps in the format right now, and if Ogre's running around, you can't expect that deck to kind of take off. There's no way. All right, Signet Codex is just going to get ogred every single time, and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, big ol' suck. The fossil stuff in the set is very cool. It's awesome, actually, but does it change the format? No. All right, that's a very casual engine to mess around with. The new Infernity stuff, it's also kind of cool. All right, the one other interesting thing from this set that'll kind of bring things to light will be Europe will get the chance to play DDD finally. I do think in terms of DDD getting some sort of representation, Europe has always been very, very, very weird. Some of the regionals are very, very small. I do think in terms of DDD, like, they're not going to go up a tier, but I do think you'll see a little bit more of a burst of playability from DDD, strictly because, hey, Rage is finally legal in the OCG. Finally, which means they can finally mess around with it, all right? Card availability is a very big thing in these sorts of sets, all right? When you can make things more widely available, it opens up the door for things, and that's a very good thing. You know, Rage becoming available does a lot. And, you know, on the flip side of that equation, you have a Luber becoming massively more available. Which means if you thought that you were going to have a format without crazy Despia stuff, no, Konami laid down this format relatively well. They knew what they wanted to do. They saw the idea of cheap structure deck, a Luber reprint to sell product. And they're doing a fantastic job at it right now. And I will say, you know, if you really want to talk about, like, this set power creeping the meta, all right, well, I guess technically making cheap, affordable Lubers technically is the warping point in the format, but everything else provided in this set doesn't do anything. It pads down tier 2, gives some cool options, gives some very good reprints, makes things a whole lot more available for upcoming future sets, which is very, very good. But at the end of the day, availability is just that, and it's going to make, you know, seeing way more Despia decks on the top charts absolutely crazy. And, you know, Difo is a few weeks away. Hopefully that'll change. Hopefully a ban list will come out here. But once again, if Despia has already done its damage here, do we really need to hit anything on the list? Because, like, it power crept a lot further than I thought it would at this point in time, which is absolutely amazing. But Ghost from the Past isn't the set that we need to change the game. Actually, Ghost from the Past is very, very late for what we want to see in terms of game-breaking things. So, very, 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 very on edge about that. We'll have to wait and see how things go from here. But that appears to be where we stand right now, ladies and gentlemen, on Ghost from the Past, changing the game. Please leave a comment about Twitch. Make sure you guys smash the little crap out of that subscribe button. Say some miss out more awesome content. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you. Ugh.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.